Thank you, Chair, and thank you to our experts for coming to us this afternoon with a comprehensive outline of the circumstances and for information which shows how complex the situation is across Europe. I have a couple of questions, Mr. Coleman, but in fairness to our panel, I should ask our panel members one or two questions as well. I think it was Mr. Ergo referred at the end to the number of derelict houses which are out of use due to lack of maintenance. I think it was slightly caught my attention. I was wondering if you could be more specific why or if any measures have been taken to try and deal with that situation. To Mr. Coleman, I suppose the question is based on the success of the Land Development Agency's approach to delivering housing. I'm wondering, do you believe there is scope for more structured cooperation between the public housing delivery bodies across the EU to share good practices and models? I mean, could the LDA model be adapted or exported to other member states facing similar urban land and affordability measures? And is there a role for the EU Investment Bank in measures like that? Also, I'm wondering if, cutting down to the matter of the sums and all of this, and let's cutting back to try and keep it simple, I'm wondering about the costs involved in this. How would you suggest addressing the build costs per square metre in the EU? Based on the recent surveys in Dublin, the cost of houses is €3,775 per square metre, and for apartments, €3,414 per square metre. So, based on predictions that inflation will remain reasonably stable over the next 5 years, what can we do to bring down this cost across the EU, but particularly in Ireland, which is one of the highest in the EU? You mentioned it, so I'm wondering, for example, would you support a VAT refund to first-time buyers which could amount to up to €40,000-50,000 in Ireland's case? And how do you see the expansion of the remit of the Member States' affordable housing delivery bodies being expanded to the delivery of private housing? So I understand this is under consideration by the Irish Government on Thursday of this week. Given the finite supply of state-owned land in suitable locations and the need to develop large-scale housing projects in the near future, could this be seen as a method to deliver? And would it be in keeping with state aid laws, one wonder as well? I could go on, Chair, but you're tight for time today.
Thank you very much. Mr. Coleman.
Thank you. All very interesting questions. So to the first one, could information sharing across Europe be beneficial to take whatever learnings the Land Development Agency has from its initial years of existence and potentially use them across Europe? Absolutely. And I think even more so across Europe, because the issue with state-owned land in Ireland is that there's not as much of it as you would think. And it's finite, and it tends to be being used for legitimate other services such as bus depots, train stations, hospitals and so on. We have quite a small military in Ireland, and in other jurisdictions there might be larger military bases that might be disused or no longer required, or other things like that. Say, for instance, that could be capitalised upon by other member states. So I think there are absolutely learnings that we've made mistakes along the way as well that we've learned from too, and a forum to share those would be very beneficial. We have done that informally with certain colleagues across Europe to date, but I think a more structured approach to that would be absolutely beneficial. And just, I might say, early learnings or information or intelligence the LDA has, we'd be more than happy to share it to colleagues across Europe. In relation to build costs, obviously my colleague here has outlined as well the significant issues that there are in Germany in relation to build costs. We have those, unfortunately, in Ireland as well, and perhaps even more so because we're an island nation and a relatively small jurisdiction in terms of purchasing power. The way that build costs could be reduced, there's no silver bullet, but it could be through a lot of small things. I think design standards would be an interesting thing. That's not to lower standards, but it's to alter certain things. Things are included in designs that cost money, and that's the reality. There is a trade-off. Every basement car parking space, not only is it made of concrete and not the most climate friendly in terms of embedded carbon, but it also costs a significant amount of money. In the case of Ireland, a single story basement car park made of concrete costs about €50,000 per space that has to be added on. and we would always argue for lower parking ratios with our apartments. There are a number of other things that could be done on standards, and that would be worth looking at. You mentioned the idea of a VAT refund to purchasers. I think where Ireland has the biggest problem is the cost of delivery of apartments as opposed to houses. Apartments are much more expensive than houses to deliver. They're a different build type. They're more akin to offices than houses. And as you've outlined, VAT is not homogenous across Europe in terms of construction costs. In Ireland, it's 13.5% on construction costs. It would be easier for sure for the Land Development Agency if it didn't have to pass those costs on to renters, but any guidance from Europe in that regard would be welcome. The expansion to delivery of private housing, it isn't something that we have focused on. A couple of reasons to date. A couple of reasons for that is that there is a private sector that's focused on private housing delivery, and we try to avoid displacement. But having said that, we may be able to facilitate the private sector, particularly on large-scale areas. We have one site that we're developing in North Dublin for 4,000 homes. I don't think every one of those 4,000 homes is going to be a social or affordable home. I think you need good social mix in the areas as well. So there may be the opportunity for state agencies like the LDA to facilitate the private sector to help develop out those large areas and have a good, appropriate social mix for the area also.